Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. We're doing now Daf It Kesubos Lamed Ches number 38. We have a great shir for you today. Uh, we're going to start talking about what we were discussing yesterday about Misa and Mammon. Well, when you get Misa, you don't have to pay Mammon. There's different psukim seem to talk about this. And then we're going to discuss a new thing in Mishnah about a case of a Nara. She becomes engaged and then she's Migureshes. She gets divorced out of the Erison. And then now she's free, right? She's not married to anybody. And then she's raped as a Nara still. Is there a Knas, right? We know there's a Knas if you rape a Nara. If you do a Nara. Is there a Knas? And if there is a Knas, does it go to the father? Does it go to the daughter? And I'm going to explain the difference between Kesef Kedushin and the Knas, which seemingly goes to different people, one to the father and one to the daughter, halacha, the way we paskin. We'll explain the difference over there. Let's start from the top of Lamed Chem and Aleph. We were left off in the middle of the discussion, the fourth line. Amalei Rava, Hamid Tana de Bechizkia Nafka. Right, we were trying to use a pasuk. We have an extraneous pasuk called Cherem. Tell me that generally you get Misa and not Mammon, or Gullus and not Mammon. We have various psukim to say that you don't get off of your Misa's based in or off from your Gullus. You don't get off the hook by giving payment for that. So the Gemara says you don't need this pasuk. The Tana de Bechizkia Nafka, the Tana de Bechizkia. We had this Tana de Bechizkia. They taught in the Academy of Bechizkia, Ma'ake Adam Ma'ake Behema. Says a pasuk in Vayikra, compares hitting a person to hitting an animal. It doesn't matter which way you do it, right? If you injure someone's animal, you kill his animal, right? You have to pay for it, no matter how you did it. It doesn't make a difference. You're always chayiv. And similarly, when you're chayiv misa for killing somebody, doesn't matter how you did it, whether it's shogig or mezid, shogig or gullus, you're pater from mammon. You're exempt because of kim levi the rab b'nei. Elam rab b'rachama. It's the rech. You need this extra pasuk. Sakda chamina hani milahecha desima es eino v'hargabo. Right. Let's say you have an eved, right? Not an eved, somebody else. You blinded him, and the same blow was such a strong blow to his eye that you killed him with. So in that case, right, you get misa. You don't have to pay for the value of his eye. He clobbered him. He took one hand and he knocked at his eye, and simultaneously with the other hand he killed him. It wasn't through the actual wound to his eye that he killed him. You might think in that case two different blows, even though it was simultaneous. You should take money also. Therefore, it teaches you no money you don't take, and misa you give him no mammon. We learned that out of a different price. So the time of the Bechizkia, ayin takas ayin. Says elsewhere, you pay an eye for an eye, below an ayin v'nefesh takas ayin. Right, an ayin for an eye. If you knock at his eye, you pay money. If you take at his eye and you kill him simultaneously, so you don't pay for both. You only get killed. You don't have to pay for his eye. You might think a knas, a fine, is different than a regular monetary punishment. Right? For example, by ones, you rape a girl, a nara, you have to pay a knas. Even though you get misa, you should also pay. Kamash malan, that's the chiddush of the pasuk. You only get misa, even a knas, padres the mammon. Whereas the Rabba, the Amar chiddush shechitcha Torah b'kas. Rabba is his famous shita that the Torah says when you're chayiv misa and a knas. A knas is different. It's not just a regular restitution. It's a deterrent from not doing it in the future, or not doing it in the first place. So you would get a knas even if you're chayiv misa. Your estate would be chayiv, your bank account would be, you can go collect from your bank account. I call cherem my abile. What do you do with that pasuk called cherem? It's over la katana debate. The katana kamo the Rebchanani ben Akava. He holds katana kamo the Rebchanani ben Akavia, who holds cherem my abile. It's talking about if someone's going out, his Gmar din. They already they issued his death warrant in Beis Din. He's chayiv misa, and he's going out to be killed. And you make an erech, you say, I give the value, his valuation to the Beis Hamikdash, a donation. It's worth nothing. He's a dead man, and therefore, kol cherem, that you can't pay money for that because there's no monetary value. Someone's going to be killed. It's like he's already dead. and there's no erchin for that. The Mishnah says Narish and Zartim and Garsha. A new case, a Nara, we've been talking about now, she's not Milresa, she was never ever happened to her. Let's say she was engaged, a Nara, and before she got married, she got divorced from her husband. We assume she wasn't violated, she wasn't with her husband. We also have Omer Ein La Knas. The Torah says Asher Lo Rasa. That's one of the things in paying the Knas, that she wasn't engaged. It seems like very, very straightforward to be able to do the Shita. Bekiva Omer, no, Yesh La Knas, Knas La Atzma. She does get a Knas. However, the Knas goes not to her father, who it normally goes to, it goes to herself, because she's sort of in her own domain after she already was engaged to somebody else, and now she's divorced. The Gemara says, my time with the Yossi Aglili. What's the reasoning of Yossi Aglili? I'm a crush, Lo Rasa. It says by the case of paying a fine for raping a girl who's a Nara that wasn't engaged. How Rasa? If she was previously engaged, and La Knas. The Torah doesn't issue a Knas in that case. Rebbe Kiva, Asher Lo Rasa. How does he darshan the pasuk? It says, Asher Lo Rasa La Avia. Torah meant to tell you when she's not engaged, then it goes to her father. Ha'orsa, if she was previously engaged, la'atzma, it would go to herself. Elama'ata, so according to Rabbi Akiva, na'ara v'lo bogeres ha'chanamid la'atzma. It says also, right, it's very limited, this knas, let's say it was a na'ara, to exclude a bogeres. If she's already 12 years old and 6 months, right, so according to Rabbi Akiva, we would say the same thing. She doesn't get, the knas doesn't go to her father, it should go to herself. That's not the halacha. Also, b'sula, it says she has to be a virgin, lo b'ula. If she's a ba'ula, then the knas doesn't go to her father, she go to herself. That's not the case. Even Rabbi Akiva's moda, in that case, there's no knas. El legamre. Must be there's no knas at all. Achanami legamre, shilak Rabbi Yosef glili. There's no knas at all. Amlach Rabbi Akiva, hay lo rasa, mi bayilei l'chadetanya. He brings another brisa, which is going to be a different perspective on Rabbi Akiva. Asher lo rasa. Probably Narish and Sars and his Garsha she'en la knas. Different real estate. Like he says in the Mishnah, there's no knas. Akiva Omer yesh la knas, the knas la avia. Akiva, there's two opinions in Rabbi Akiva. This opinion Rabbi Akiva holds that the father actually gets the knas even when she was in Sars and his Garsha. That did no sin. It makes sense. Ho of avia zakai because of kiddusha. Normally, a father, right, can marry his daughter off as a ketana, or even a nari can marry her off, and he'll get the kesef kiddushin. He gets to take whatever money he negotiated to marry her off. He gets to keep that money. And the father also is entitled, when she gets raped as a nara, he gets the fine. Not follows that if he's Makadish her and she gets divorced out of the Arison, and then he marries her again, he gets the Kesef Kedushin. Similarly, we should say the same thing. So therefore we say the same thing, and it goes to her father. What do you do with the pasuk? The pasuk said that she's not engaged. Seems like there's no knas, right? Or so the word is mufna. This pasuk Ashel Rasa is extra. It's extraneous pasuk because it obviously doesn't mean what it means, because really there is a knas, and like all other cases in this brisa, the knas goes to her father. So that Ashel Rasa is an extra pasuk. Mukish lahakish v'lodon eiman gzera shava. It's needed. Teach gzera shava. Never kan Ashel Rasa. Never lahalan Ashel Rasa. This is by onus. When you rape her, it says lo rasa. And it says ashel lo rasa when it comes to mafuta, when you seduce her as a nara. Makan chamishim, af lahalan chamishim. It says by when you rape her, it says 50 kesef, chamishim kesef. And therefore we also apply by mafuta also gets 50 kesef to the father. Malahalan shkolim, it says kesef yishkol kamar psulos. Actually it's to be shkolim, right? I guess Israeli currency. Afkan shkolim, not so expensive, 50 shkolim. 50 shekels, not so much. Afkan shkolim. So therefore, also by Iones, it's 50 shekel. You might have thought any currency. Rabbi Akiva, my chaz is Ashelo Rasa l'gzera shava. Rabbi Akiva, what did he see? Ashelo Rasa is l'gzera shava. Psula lemuta bula. And psula, we take it at face value. There's no knas if she's not a virgin. Top of Laman Chanam Abbey is Ema psula l'gzera shava. Ashelo Rasa probably narish k'sar and karsha. It says Basula both by onus and by mafuta. Let's use that as the gira shava. And Sherla Russell will take it face value. Probably Narash is Arasim in his garsha. Doesn't get a knas like Rabbi Yosef Lili. Mistabra Sherla Russell the gira shava. Makes sense, more sense to Sherla Russell for the gira shava. Shereni Koraba Nara Psula. Because at the end of the day, right, she's a Nara Psula, so we have to take that literally. As far as other Rabba. Psula Xera Shava. We'll say Psula Xera Shava. Shereni Koraba Sherla Russell. Because maybe that was you have to take value, Sherla Russell. We should take that at face value. The word is mistabra. How yishtani guba? How yishtani guba? It's more mistaber. Take the zera shova for Sherla Rasa, and to say that psula has direct nafkamina, that if she's a psula and not a mula, the knas wouldn't apply, because there, if she was together with another man, so she lost her psulim, so her body changed. That's a significant change. So therefore, that makes sense that there's no knas in that case. If she just merely engaged to somebody, her body didn't change. So therefore, even if she's engaged and gets divorced, there would still be a knas. Where does he know the Gzeira Shava to be makish, to say the same halachas apply by ones and mafuta? Nafkalim and the Sanya with different prices. Kesev yishkal kamor absulos. It says by mafuta he gives kesev, like more absulos, like the price for a virgin. Shei zek and more absulos kizeh. Now in this drasha we're interpreting more absulos is the payment for absula, which either can mean for a ksuba or also means for ones. When you rape a woman, her value, you're taking her value of absula, or taking away her virginity, right? So therefore, more absulos in this drasha is a reference to ones. So kesav yishkal more absulos, kesav yishkal is by mafuta. More absulos is makish to ones. So whatever applies in one, zek more absulos kazeh. So whatever applies in one, just like ones is 50, so mafuta is 50. This mafuta is shkalim. Ones is also shkalim. Whereas kashi the Rekiva. Right, our Mishnah Rekiva says she's in Stars in this Garsha, right? The Knas goes to herself. In the Brisa, it says it goes to her father. There's Trey Tanai Valiba to Rabbi Akiva. There's two real opinions. Neither was really the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. We're not sure what Rabbi Akiva said. Two opinions, two Talmidim. Rabbi Akiva had different opinions. What he said. Bishlam Rabbi Akiva, the Mastisin Lo Asya Zerashava Mafkele the Krami Pashte. According to Rabbi Akiva in the Mishnah, right? Asher Lo Rasa, even though it teaches a Zerashava, according to Rabbi Akiva, but they're still, right, we don't deviate from the pshat and the pasuk. Asher Lo Rasa means that she wasn't engaged, right? So if she was engaged, so something has to change. So Rabbi Akiva says, fine, there's a knas. At least it changes in the Mishnah, it goes to her. So the Torah is telling, the pshat of the Torah is telling you something. El Rabbi Akiva, the Brisa, asking the Rosh Mafkon Pashte. There's no difference over here. It says Asher Lo Rasa, that she wasn't engaged. If she was engaged, something has to change. But according to Akiva in the Brisa, the knas goes to her father. So nothing changed. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Kari be Asher Lo Arusa. You have to read the pasuk according to Akiva in the Brisa, Asher Lo Arusa. She's not presently in Arusa. If she's present in Arusa, then there's no knas. So when Arusa Baskila, you need a pasuk to tell me that, right? And Arusa, if she's already engaged and then she gets raped or she is seduced in that case, right, which she committed adultery, right? The punishment for Nara Murasa, that she's engaged and she commits adultery, she's chayav skila. And we know from the previous Gemara is that Kim Levi the Rabbin and Misa Pater the Mo. There's no reason to tell me that you're chayav a knas. Saka Chamina, in other words, nonetheless, I might think maybe a whole v'chidushu shechidusha Torah b'knas. Knas is different. It's the deterrent. It's the fine. It's different than monetary restitution. Avagav the miklam mashalim. You should do both. Kamash Milan, you don't get it. Well, the Rabbah, the Amar, Kiddush, Shechidusha Torah b'knas. Avagav the miklam mashalim. He holds, yes, the Torah would be chayav knas even when you're killed. What are you going to say? He would say, no, I hold like the opinion of Akiva in the Mishnah, where the pasuk does have significance in the pshat. It tells me, Asher Lo Rasa, if she wasn't engaged, the knas goes to her father. If she was engaged and she's in skarsha, the knas goes to herself. Tana Rabbanan, knas l'mi. And Bryce says the knas goes to who? La'avia, to her father. Yeshon la'atzma. Some say it goes to herself. La'atzma goes to herself. Amai. Right? The Torah says by ones and mafata goes to the father. Amar Rav Chisda Haka ben Arash Nesaras and Iskarsha. Skin. This price is talking about a case where she's a nara and she was muresa, she was engaged and she got divorced. The kamifki plugs to the Rabbi Akiva the Maslis and Rabbi Akiva the Bryce. So they're arguing, right? Rabbi Akiva, which opinion does Rabbi Akiva hold? Like, Rabbi Akiva hold in one place. Rabbi Akiva seems to hold that the knas goes to her father, and the other, and in the Mishnah he says the knas goes to herself. Amar Abaye Balel Mesa Potter. Let's say he rapes a woman, a nara, and she dies before they have a chance to issue a psak din and beis din that he's chayav to pay the knas to the father. So he's potter. He can no longer collect. The father can no longer collect the money. Shneimar v'nasam avia nara. You have to give it to the father of the nara. V'lo avia mesa. If she's already dead, you don't give it to the father. It has to be she's living. She's presently living. We're going to stop here. The Gemara is going to say that's Abaye. Rava had a suffix about this halacha. We'll talk about that in the next year. Hope you enjoyed today's share. Stay tuned for Iyon of Ben Sion. We're going to discuss the difference between Kesef Kiddushin and a Knas by a Nara right? La Hilchasa, Aliba de Hilchasa, in one situation, even after Eris and Nisarsim and Nisgarsha, the father retains the Kiddushin. When it comes to the Knas, over here we pass like the Rekiva and the Mishnah, that the father does not retain the money, the Knas goes to the girl herself. What's the distinction coming up? And Ben Sion next.